genetics. So the base unit of all genetics is the gene, right? So a gene is a certain length of DNA at a specific location that codes for a certain trait. And you've got your alleles, which is a specific kind of, or a specific version of a gene that results in a different outcome. And you can have different combinations of these alleles. We have homozygous and heterozygous. So homozygous is where you have two of the same alleles, dominant or recessive. In this example, AA or lowercase a. And then heterozygous, which is a combination of two different alleles. And we got some examples of some heterozygotes. And you might have been wondering what a genotype is. So a genotype is a specific, like the underlying genetic code for a certain trait. And then the phenotype, which is distinct, is the outward manifestation of that genotype in a characteristic or a behavior.
So what do we do with all this information? We can use something called a Punnett square, which is just a visual tool to help us predict the phenotypes and genotypes of offspring from two parents. Or in simpler terms, when two parents have a child, each one gives one allele, and it's from one of the two alleles that they have. And a Punnett square helps us predict what alleles that child might have. So if we go over to the board, I can show you. So, for example, like we mentioned, there's dominant and recessive traits. And so a dominant trait is usually shown with a big letter, and that means that if it is present, it will be expressed, or in the phenotype, you'll be able to see it. So for example, that'll be like brown eyes, big A is brown eyes. And then small a is recessive, meaning there has to be two of them for someone to be able to see it in the phenotype. And that'll be blue eyes, for example. So if there's a dad who's big A, meaning he has brown eyes, and a mom who's little a, meaning she has blue eyes, we can predict the chance that the child will have brown or blue eyes by using a Punnett square. How this works is you just fill in the boxes beneath each one. So this will be big A and a big A, and a little a and a little a, and then you do the same thing for the other direction. So we can look and we see that there's two that are big A, and two that are little a. Meaning from this we can predict, we won't know for certain, but we can predict that there's a 50% chance that the child will be big A, meaning they'll have brown eyes, and a 50% chance of the child being little a, meaning they'll have blue eyes. This is not for certain, meaning if they have two children, that one will have to have brown eyes and the other will have to have blue eyes. It just gives us a good tool for predicting what could happen.
Okay, now we're going to talk about some patterns of inheritance. And so the first one that we're going to talk about is incomplete dominance. And to talk about these, we're going to use our very special friends. Mama and Dada Snowman. And so, incomplete dominance is where neither allele is completely dominant, and so they have a blended phenotype child. And so, when a mother snowman and a father snowman love each other very much, they have a child. In this case, their child would be green, which is a blended phenotype of the two parents. And then another example that we have is codominance, where both alleles are expressed equally and individually, and both can be distinctly seen. And so, same example, we have the two parents, and they have a child, but this is codominance. So their child is both colors distinctly seen. And then we have complete dominance, where let's use a father snowman and a mother snowman, which is green, and blue is dominant. And so they will have a child who is blue. And then for more inheritance, we have linked genes, where they are genes that are very close and located on the same chromosome. An example of this is Dalmatians. The same chromosome that makes Dalmatians have spots also helps them be susceptible to deafness. And then another one is sex-linked genes, where genes located on the X or Y chromosome. An example of this is colorblindness, red-green colorblindness, which is located on the X chromosome. So men are more likely to express this condition. And then we have autosomal genes, where they're genes located on the autosomal and non-sex chromosomes. Autosomal dominance inheritance means that only one of the parents needs to carry a copy of the mutation for the disease to be expressed in the child. And then we have autosomal recessive inheritance, where both parents must be carriers. And an example of this one is my siblings. This is my brother and sister, Cora and Romy, and they have an autosomal recessive genetic disease called spinal muscular atrophy, SMA. And so because of this, both of my parents are carriers of this mutation. And it affects them, with them having this disease where their spine stops sending signals to their muscles and they deteriorate over time. But we're lucky we live in an age where there is treatments. And so this is me taking my siblings to an appointment to do pre-checkups before their treatments.
As you can see, genetics really do affect us. As we ourselves have children, the knowledge of genetics and of alleles and genes let us know the risk factors that our children may face. So genetics are truly in our lives every day.